Well, it's that time again where we review Ring of Honor, MLW, NXT UK, and 205 Live, and of course, my favorite, New Japan Strong. So let's review, discuss, and talk about on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So let's begin with Ring of Honor. They had only 2 championship matches in this one. They were very good, and the storyline kind of brought interest to me. The first match was, in fact, for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles between La Facción Ingobernable and the Foundation. As you know, there appears there's been more of a rivalry between the two. If you look at the Foundation, they have been the one faction. They believe that they are the true masters of the Ring of Honor. As for La Facción Ingobernable, or LFI, they believe that the Foundation, this is not their house. They don't make the rules. They make the rules. So basically, this is kind of like a rivalry. Now, when Kenny King and Dragon Lee won the #1 contendership for these tag team titles, apparently Foundation thought they can play a little fast one on them by saying, okay, we'll give you guys a champion under one condition. You have to play by pure wrestling rules. Now, this is something that they know. If you guys know, La Facción Ingobernable don't play by the rules. That's exactly what they wanted, because they know they could lose this match, and they played it pretty well. Now, however, do you think that Facción would figure out a way to, how do I say, to win this without realizing? Actually, they did. The match was kind of interesting. They were running out of breaks because of that. But later, there was a moment where Jay Lethal did a tope suicida aiming for Kenny King, but instead he got Amy Rose. Now, while the referee was in fact distracted, there is a rule in the pure wrestling rules: no fist allowed. And Dragon Lee did that, fist punched Jonathan Gresham, allowing for La Facción Ingobernable to win the Ring of Honor tag team titles. And that's how they actually pull a past one. But however, Kenny King, in much of the match, he was giving slapping, because it kind of played mind games with them. Now, the referee didn't see this, so this means that not even Jonathan Gresham or Lethal would have imagined losing like this. Now, is the rivalry far from over? I doubt it. So we have brand new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, and that is Kenny King and Dragon Lee. So congratulations, guys. Let's see what you guys can do. Now, the next match, which is the main event, we have the Ring of Honor World Championship match between challenger Shane Taylor and, of course, Rush. Now, keep in mind, Rush doesn't play by anybody's rules. Even when he became champion, that's not his game. But however, Kenny King, on the other hand, was commentating. As you know, if you follow the story, Kenny King and Shane Taylor share history. Kenny King did call Shane Taylor a little brother, even though he's a huge dude. But basically, he did swore that the La Facción would not get involved. Even Shane Taylor did the same thing with his guys, Moses and Con SOS. And it was kind of interesting. But at some point, you see Rush's father, Bestia del Ring, bring out a chair. And Kenny King, in the other hand, tried to stop it, or was he? What happened is he tried to whack Rush with the chair, but hit Shane Taylor. And it seems this was another plot to ensure Rush wins the title. So this means La Facción Ingobernable are now gaining more momentum, more gold, and of course, they are the faction that it's going to not play by its rules. So Rush retained the title. So what does this mean for Ring of Honor? Are they going to tolerate La Facción Ingobernable as one of those factions that will do whatever they want? Or can the Foundation and Shane Taylor do something? Because that's something that we might see. Kind of like similar to what WCW did back in the day with NWO. You saw where Sting and Luger even teamed with the Four Horsemen to take on the NWO. So we might see something similar. I'm kind of interested to see where they're going to go with this one. So I think that's it right now we got with Ring of Honor. So let's move on with MLW. Alright, so MLW, it started out with the MLW World Tag Team titles between Contra Units, Simon Gotch, and Daivari against the champions Los Parks. Now keep in mind, Contra Unit want these titles. They set up this match because they believe they currently control the World Heavyweight title. But this match, it was very interesting to see. As you know, that Contra Unit are now have their own agenda to control the MLW, and of course we got Los Parks being run by Selena Del Renta and her mysterious new boss, who we don't know who he is. Now, in some point you see in this match, like everything could have gone in Contra Unit's way, but however, the referee got distracted with, of course, in this particular match you have LA Park and his son, Hijo de LA Park, the champions. But however, they forgot about the other son, LA Park Jr. He comes out, distracts the referee, and all of a sudden, Simon Gotch and Daivari, Simon Gotch was taken out by, of course, Injustice as payback for what they have been causing them for months. And this allowed for Los Parks to, in fact, retain the MLW World Tag Team titles. Now, after the events of what happened in Filthy Island, the Von Erichs kind of like, decided to gloat around, saying they crashed a little party. They said they want to do their own wrestling island and bring in someone who calls himself Hammerhead Shark. Basically, I don't know if that could come around, but, I'm kind of curious. So, we don't know when that happened, but let's move on with that. Later, we see an interview with Alicia Atout interviewing Selena De La Renta, even though those two are at odds with each other. Selena De La Renta finally made her mark, saying even though the Los Parks retained the title, she wants more gold. So she now has her sights set on the National Openweight title that's currently being held by Alexander Hammerstone. But this time she's saying that Hammerstone, he's not in the right mindset because of his feud with Mads Kruger of the Contra Unit. So we don't know how that's going to be. So later on, we did see Alicia Atout talking to Richard Holiday and Hammerstone, who in fact Selena De La Renta saying that that Richard Holiday is Alicia Atout's boy toy. Now she went to confront them, and she said Holiday denied that he actually said that, and of course Hammerstone saying that they're not afraid of the Promociones Dorada or whatever, So Hammerstone is fully prepared. So he told her just tell her to shut up. But however, Hammerstone decided to have a little fun. He tells Holiday, "You like her," and of course, like, "No, you like her." So he's playing a little fun with him because those two have been, both Alicia and Holiday have been going back and forth on this. So I thought it was a real funny segment to see. Now we see the return of a wrestler we haven't seen for quite some time. I'm talking about Pero. He faces a guy named Dugan, and like a very huge dude like him, who's like almost the size of Calvin Tankman, Fatu, and of course Hammerstone and Mats Kruger. He dominated the match. But however, he did send a message to De La Renta that he wants Mil Muertes to give payback for what they did to Savio Vega in that Aztec Jungle match that took place 2 weeks ago. So, I'm kind of curious and excited to see that happen. Now, let's go to the fallout of what happened in Filthy Island. As you know, the Von Erichs crashed Filthy Island. And of course, Tom Lawler is not a happy camper that his little get together got ruined. He said that the Von Erichs will pay, but how? He's still injured. Where is Kevin Koo and Dominic Greeny? I don't see them. So pretty much it kind of went that way. Now, as you know, the situation that's going on with Book Da Koo, who was tag team partners with TJP. TJP kind of went a different phase on him, turned on him. He's now asking for a one-on-one match against him. Now, I don't know if TJP will accept or MLW will sanction it. All we can do is wait and see what's going to happen. Now, the next match is a very interesting one. This one is between Laredo Kid and, of course, the heavyweight hustle, Calvin Tankman. I have to say it was a really good match because if you guys are fans of Laredo Kid or don't know who he is, he's one of the best high flyers. He relies on his high flying and speed. And I don't think Calvin Tankman expected a guy like him to try to take him down. I mean, he may have respects for a guy like him, and I think he might have put him through the test. But however, the match ended in Calvin Tank's favor, but he did show respect in the end to Calvin Tankman, and I can see maybe he wants better competition or face the bigger heavyweights who he feels he should be facing. Any thoughts? Well, I'll explain to that later. Now, as you guys recently been seeing, there has been developments with Gino Medina ever since he left or quit the Dynasty, whatever the real story is. He's now in a feud against Gringo Loco. He addresses the fact that he calls Gringo Loco a fake luchador. He's saying that you're a white guy pretending to be a luchador. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've seen wrestlers who are luchadors who train in that manner. But this could be another feud that's being in development, and I can't wait to see when that day happens. Now we get to the main event. This is for the MLW World Heavyweight Championship between challenger Jordan Oliver and, of course, Contra Unit's member Jacob Fatu. Now, this match was very interesting to watch because you look at Jordan Oliver, who's also a high flyer, but he also has the weight of a heavyweight taking on a guy who's bigger, in size. The height, they're almost equal. But you don't know what to expect in this one. But in this case, Fatu didn't need anybody to help him out. He's the kind of guy who would rather just face his opponent his way. And that's exactly what he did with Jordan Oliver. So he defeated Jordan Oliver, but however, this was a trap by Contra Unit, so they send their Sentai Death Squad with body bags to put Myron Reed and Jordan Oliver in body bags. But however, the party was crashed by Calvin Tankman, who decided to take matters in his own hands. He took out the Sentai Death Squad, Simon Gotch, Davari, and then Fatu. Now, this is something we talked about. If you guys are fans of wrestling, you know for a fact you want to see two huge dudes collide. And this is, in this moment right here, between Calvin Tankman and Fatu, this is something we gotta see. Now, could Tankman be the guy to dethrone Fatu, to make Contra Unit be like the unit loses to a guy like Tankman? I don't know. But my guess is we will see maybe a possible alliance between both Calvin Techman, and Injustice to deal with Contra Unit. I'm excited to see that. So, I think that's it right now with MLW. Let's move on with NXT UK and 205 Live. Alright, so we got WWE's NXT UK and 205 Live. So let's begin with NXT UK. First match is Ilya Dragunov taking on Sam Gradwell. Now, in recent weeks, we have been seeing Ilya Dragunov ever since he lost to Walter. He's been losing control. Like, he's reminded of that night where he lost, that he took a big, brutal match. But Sam Gradwell has been trying to get into his head, all this and that. Much of the match, it could have gone smoothly, but however, Gradwell has been pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, trying to have Dragunov lose his mind. There was a moment when he won the match, but he continued to brutalize Gradwell. But however, when refs came in the way, he almost could have taken out a ref. He can't control himself, but Sam Gradwell has that grin on his face that he's seeing that he is not the same Dragunov he is. So he's taking advantage of Dragunov's dark side, that he's been trying to overcome it. But if I was Dragunov, I would leave NXT for a while and come back better and stronger. That's how I would put it in the story-wise. Now, the humiliation continues. As you recall, Nina Samuels accepted a match against Xia Brookside, and the stipulation, if she lost, whoever loses will carry her bags for a month. And she lost. And now she has to make tea for Brookside and her new friend, Aaliyah James. Well, Nina, you should not have put on the stipulation. I thought it was funny. It's like one of those moments where we've seen in story-wise where you make a bet and you lose, but that's what happens. Now, earlier we seen in another Supernova sessions. This time the guest is Tyler Bate. Now, as you know, Noam Dar, he likes to stir the pot. Likes to get into people's business, trying to act like they think they're worthless. But however, Tyler Bate didn't let on. He was putting on a good Sem phase, and of course he hijacked the Supernova sessions. So that is something you don't expect. And of course, Noam Dar was not happy that Tyler Bate hijacked the show. So someone actually put him in his place. I thought it was really funny. Now, as you can see, recently we've been seeing Ben Carter appearing. They did show an interview where he's training British wrestling style. Basically, this is something he's not familiarized with. If you guys know this, he's originally from Jersey. No, I'm not talking about New Jersey, old Jersey. But he spends much of his time wrestling in the U.S. And that's something that it's normal, but however, he needs to get into the style itself. What else? Now we get into a very interesting tag team match. This is with Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan. Now, these guys have teamed before. Kenny Williams was on injury, but he came back, taking on Ashton Smith and Jordan Oliver Carter. Now, this seems like the match was very interesting the way it was going. Now, you don't know who will be. You see, the thing is, this is kind of like one of those matches where, okay, who will advance to try to make a name for themselves to become the team that will get a shot for the tag team titles. That is something that kind of jumps into this type of match. But however, the match ended in a very interesting favor. There was a moment where you see Ashton Smith. He had the match won, but however, Kenny Williams pulled his leg, and then Amir Johnson flipped him out and allowing himself to win the match. Oliver Carter was not pleased how this match was in, so Kenny Williams somehow found a way to ensure that the match goes in their favor. Now, could we see them possibly getting an opportunity for the NXT UK tag team titles? Possibly, yes. Now we get to the main event that's been talking about. It's for the NXT UK women's title. We have the last Japanese boss, Meiko Satomura, taking on the longest reigning champion, Kaylee Ray. What a match. Believe me, I did not expect to like this match, but it was so awesome. You would have assumed, if you're fans of Meiko Satomura, you assume she's going to win, or fans of Kaylee Ray. This is one of those matches that brings you back to that Japanese wrestling shows you see overseas, and that kind of brings you up. That kind of brought me to that. But man, but the way the match ended was very surprising. It went back to Kaylee Ray, and she retained her title. But the real question I think fans are asking, who will be the one to dethrone her? That is a good question. I think we should put that. Who will be the one to dethrone Kaylee Ray? Well, we'll just wait and see what happens. Now let's jump into 205 Live. First match is tag team action. We have August Gray teaming with Jake Atlas, taking on the 205 Originals, Tony Nese and Arya Daivari. Now, as you know, these two guys, Nese and Daivari, have a problem with the newbies. They believe they're being threatened by the newcomers. They're believing that this is their show, that no one's going to take their spots. It's becoming a feud. But however, you wouldn't expect an upset from August Gray. This allowed for him and Jake Atlas to make another statement, allowing them to show that they're here to stay. They're not going to tolerate guys like Daivari and Nese trying to say that they're the ones that run the show. They want to make a name for themselves, and that's what they did. Then we see a little interesting interview that led to the main event, which was Mansoor and Kurt Stallion. As you know, they already teamed the previous week. So they were saying they were good as a tag team, so they were talking about which tag team name. Kurt Stallion goes, how about Kurt Soar or Mansoor goes, how about Man Stallion? But however, they jump into the one area I did not expect, which was a one-on-one match. However, if you guys don't know this, Mansoor at this time was 40-0. Basically, he was undefeated. Kurt Stallion said, how about we make it 40-1, basically. And they jump into this match. But the match was unbelievably good. You wouldn't expect a whole lot. But the real question is, can Mansoor maintain his undefeated streak, or can Kurt Stallion be the one to break the undefeated streak? That's something we've seen before with undefeated streakers, all the time. But I have to say, maybe this was the right choice, because you want to keep the whole have at least one superstar being the undefeated one, and that person was Mansoor. But he won really great, and of course he showed respect to Kurt Stallion. Now, could we see them down the line teaming up again or become rivals? I don't know. So I think that's it right now with this particular. So let's end the episode with New Japan Strong. Okay, so I'm going to end it with New Japan Strong. They just began their latest tour, the Road to Strong Style Evolved, which is one of my favorite shows they do whenever New Japan comes from Japan all the way to the States. But because of the recent pandemic, it would be a little different now, but we'll see how that goes. First, they started out, as you know, one of the Quad 5 match. We have, first time ever we've seen Lio Rush facing off one of the best junior heavyweights champions, junior heavyweight wrestlers, I have to say, Rocky Romero. Rocky did stated that the one title that has eluded him throughout his career was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. That's something I can't say I agree with because I can't. He never won it. But however, this thing is now coming up on heels of the other event that they're holding, which is New Japan Cup USA. As you recall, this is something that will be coming around. So the match between Lio Rush and Rocky Romero will be the main event to qualify who will be in the New Japan Cup USA. So that is something that I'm looking forward to it again, but we'll see where they go from there. First match we have is a paired Young Lions. First scene we have Kevin Knight and Clark Connors taking on Alex Coughlin, who's been out for 7 months on a neck injury, and of course, the first graduate of the LA Dojo, Carl Fredericks. Now, Carl Fredericks has been unable to pick up a win for quite some time, but however, this time he teamed up with someone that he knew, worked with, trained with Alex Coughlin. Now, you could expect a whole lot in this type of match because these guys are just young lions. Even though Fredericks, we can say, okay, he's graduate, but he shouldn't be involved. But there's like that old saying that I would like to think it's more like once a young lion, always a young lion. That's how I would say it. But the match could have gone in a different way. There was a moment that Kevin McKnight, as you know, I mentioned a few times, the young lions are unlimited to use certain moves. And one of the submission moves they've been using so far is the Boston Crab. Kevin Connors had made a career out of it to win his match. Kevin Knight has tried to use it on Coughlin, but however, I think his form was not perfect enough because he had to maneuver a whole lot, and that kind of messes up the whole thing. But however, the match did ended in Alex Coughlin and Carl Fredericks' favor winning the match. It felt like, okay, now they're going to pick up the slack after being injured. Now it's time to get back to work and make things happen. And pretty interesting. Now, the next two matches are of the qualifying matches for the New Japan Cup. First match, we have the DKC, who is the current Young Lion, taking on Filthy Tom Lawler. Now, Tom Lawler thought he was going to beat a Young Lion easily. That's what his mindset was saying, which kind of fits in his persona. But however, I don't think he would have expected that the match will go longer with a guy like DKC. As you know, DKC did ask to join the LA Dojo, which Shibata agreed and said, follow me. And that's what he did. He's been learning a whole lot with Shibata, and I have to say, he seems like he's improving a whole lot, you know. I have seen DKC at least maybe twice on an event with the Level Up Showcase before he, this was in 2019, I think. Yeah, 2019. But it was a good show. But Tom Lawler was stunned that he couldn't beat him that easily, but later on he did. But he asked DKC to send him a message to Shibata. I don't know if he thinks Shibata is a fool to train a guy like DKC. If I was Tom Lawler, don't ever try to insult Shibata. If you guys remember, you saw what he did to Kenta, what was it, 2 years ago when Kenta betrayed Shibata. So, we all know what happened. So, Tom Lawler wins, so he qualifies in the New Japan Cup. So, let's move on to the main event, which is Lio Rush versus Rocky Romero. Now, this was also another good match because these are two pairs of junior heavyweights, old school and new school. So that's like something that is very unique. Rocky Romero has been considered one of the best junior heavyweights in the world. But like I said, the one title that has eluded him was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. And what are we waiting for? Someone give him that title. But the match was great. But the real question is, who will be in the New Japan Cup? And I have to say, I kind of saw this happening. I feel like maybe it was the right call. It was Lio Rush who won. It was like real fast really good pin, and of course Rocky wasn't sure if it really was a pin, so it was. So Leo Rush actually won. He's in the New Japan Cup, so can't wait to see what he's gonna do. And of course he did show up right in Rocky, showing some respect, saying that he really put him through the test. So I think that's pretty much it we got right now with this episode. Stay tuned for more. I think the next following episode will be more Japanese wrestling, and then of course 2 days more of the New Japan Cup that's taking place now. So I'll see you guys the next time on the same DWZ time, same DWZ channel. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.